Good morning, Wlodeck.
Good morning, good morning.
We are today in the beautiful Beaufort Polo grounds in the heart of the Cotswolds. What a stunning day. And we're today talking to Wlodeck about the challenges of managing, preparing, maintaining polo grass, polo pitches for the season. So Wlodeck, how's the spring been so far for you?
Well, so far it was rather difficult because we had a quite prolonged drought so far. In our place, 5 weeks without rain is quite a long time.
Yeah.
So, yeah, even early time of playing polo is quite difficult to maintain grounds to prepare them for playing, so will be safe, will be soft enough for players to enjoy. So yeah, it is rather rough start of the season, but we're hoping that weather will help us in the short future.
So normally at this early stage of the season, you've got lots of grass, strong growth, and obviously the dry spring has created probably the opposite.
Yes, it did, because without water, grass doesn't grow, despite we do irrigate.
Yeah.
We've got irrigation system here. What we do is not enough. It's not enough because artificial rain doesn't work exactly the same way as a rainfall which comes from the sky. So yeah, we do manage to play in good condition, but grass coverage is still very weak.
Can you tell us about polo itself? How long is a game? How many players? How many ponies?
Well, polo is very unique sport, I would say. It's old sport because has been played first, if I could remember, that was in Pakistan, tribes, Mongols. But in the Western world, this is exclusive, I would say. It is gentleman's game.
Yep.
It's not something which general public knows much about. And polo game is very entertaining. You know, it's 4 chapters which are called chaka.
Yep.
Each chaka 7 minutes with additional 30 seconds if ball is still in play. Is 8 players involved, 4 on each team and 2 umpires. So it is very entertaining because skill of the riders and skill of them hitting the ball and do what they do on the ground during the game, it is mind-blowing.
Yeah. And after each quarter they can choose a new pony?
Yes,
is that how it works?
But even during the 7 minutes, chaka period, they do change horses.
Okay.
So we are very entertaining, very entertaining.
So
I
a fast
recommend.
game.
Fast game.
And in terms of the grass, as we can see, the speed of the ponies creates potentially a lot of damage.
Usually, yes.
Yeah.
Damage depends on the ground condition. As we can see right now, in drier condition, it's more about scars instead of having deep divots. Then in the wet weather condition, because we must play polo, when it's much softer, of course we've got deep holes, compression points, which are quite difficult to solve afterwards. So requires a lot of man hours to repair the ground, to make it ready, let's say within 3 days for another game, or sometimes even for a next day game. Depends on the schedule and which grounds I'm dedicating, for each play. Yeah.
And in terms of your number of matches, hours through a season, how many were on your number 1 pitch at the moment?
Well,
how much use, how much time, how many hours?
We've got, from the playing perspective, average number of games per season per ground is about 33 games.
Yeah.
And it is quite intense, because if you consider that season starts more or less on the 1st of May and ends on the 14th of September, so actually you've got 4 months to play 33 games on each ground. But of course, this is just numbers, because in reality, because of weather conditions, we using some of the grounds more often, especially in the wet, because they are safer and they cope in better. But yeah, 180 games on the 5 grounds. It is quite a lot.
Yeah.
It is quite a lot. Our record recently, that was 208 games.
Wow.
Which is impressive number.
Yeah.
But also it is impressive, we've managed to actually provide a good surface for whole season.
Yeah.
For whole season.
And from your perspective, in terms of a grass mixture, what's the key elements that you would look to get?
We are based on the mix of grasses on each ground. I would say is more or less 70% of ryegrass.
Yeah.
And 30% of slender creeping red fescues.
Yeah.
Just to create this proper sward, so everything works much better. But for treading purposes like repairing, I do use just the ryegrass.
Straight ryegrass, yeah.
Straight, because it's just nothing is quicker.
Yeah.
And also ryegrass, as we know, copes with drought.
Yeah.
When fescues will die out completely with, let's say, 2 weeks of hot weather without any, but even without irrigation, fescues are not resistant enough. So for that reason, we are majority of the grass species is ryegrass here, which, and also we need to consider another matter, that we are in Cotswolds and our soil is about pH is 7.3.
Yeah.
So for ryegrass is nothing better. It's a perfect environment.
Yeah, yeah, because you've kind of more recently used a mixture of the tetraploid and the diploid.
Yes, tetraploid I introduced by your recommendation, by the way, and actually works very well because rooting is much better, which polo grounds perspective is very important because of activity on our grounds like horses, compaction, irrigation. It is very difficult to create really good deep root zone.
Yeah.
So tetraploid helped a lot, and even now when we do divoting or we repairing the grounds, you can see, we will hold the divot and you can see this really big fat root, which shows that's tetraploid, which is amazing specimen, and I would recommend to anyone. Yeah.
How long have you been managing the grounds here?
Well, I've got 20 years experience at Beaufort.
Yeah.
And 13 years as a head groundsman when I took over from the former head groundsman. Yeah.
And over, if you want, those 13 years, have you changed how you've managed or maintained?
Yes. Oh, big time, It's my way or no way.
Well, you're the boss.
I did change because, as I mentioned earlier, that you need to act rapidly, accordingly to the weather, to the ground condition and other stuff. And I did improve my grounds a lot within, using different techniques, using, different materials.
Yeah.
So actually in the past 13 years, I believe I improved my grounds, as I'm calling them my grounds. I improved them probably, I would say, about 30-40%.
Wow, yeah.
In comparison what we had before. So soil structure, compost, organic matter, which is very important, top dressing, which is very important. Adjustment of the grass specimens. On one of the grounds I decreased number of red fescues because couldn't cope in the dry weather. So I get rid of probably 40% of fescues, then overseeded with ryegrass. Helped a lot. Now it's beautiful ground and plays very, very well.
And so in season, when you have divots, you use a compost type mixture?
Yes, I'm using
PAS
100 compost, which is free of any wheat seeds and other stuff. It's pure organic matter, which I'm mixing with sand. It's about 30% of compost, 70% of sand. So compost provides this nutrition and actually binds together, because when it gets wet, everything is just binds together, sand. So instead of mower just blowing everything from the holes, everything stays in place, which is amazing. So that's what we do.
Yeah, well, as I say, I think it looks fantastic. thanks for your time.
Happy to hear. Anytime, happy to help. Very nice to see
Great, thanks
you.
Wlodeck.
Thank you.